How's it? Today we are going to talk about print layout with our photography that we've created. We're going to have a nice contact sheet that we're going to make in Photoshop. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to print on A3 paper, like the bigger paper that we want. So we're going to go to print and view all presets, and we're going to choose A3. Now with your A3, it's going to have, I'm in millimeters, so 297. I'm going to copy whatever unit that is and paste it under the height so it's a square. I'm going to keep all that. Background content, I'm going to use that black content background. Okay. So there we go. And what we're going to do is we are going to create our squares first. So we're going to go ahead and hit the square and double click. And for our square, we are going to choose 8.6 and cm, centimeter. Okay. Command A, Command C, Tab, Command V, because we're going to do a square, and we have our square. This is going to be our border, okay, for our photograph. But how do you know where to put this on the line? What we need to know is how far apart to put our margin, like the space. The margin is a space on the sides. We are going to go to the rectangle tool, double click, and we're going to put 0.97 cm for centimeters. Command A, Command C, Command Tab, Command V. This is going to be a little square, okay? And fill this with a different color that's really easy to see, because that's going to be our guide for measuring. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the top left. Command R to get your rulers. I'm going to drag out the ruler, make a guide. Okay, and notice I'm going to lock my guides out just like so. Command minus to zoom out. Take my rectangle out. And you can use the space bars to make sure you get, the arrow keys to make sure you get exactly correct. And there we go, we locked it in. I'm going to bring that square back out. And I'm going to measure to the left of it. And again, use the arrow keys to make sure there's no spacing between it. Okay, and there we go. Now I need to duplicate our square. I'm going to hit Option, and then while holding the Option, I'm going to hold down the Shift key as well, because then notice if I drag it up and down, it doesn't let me mess it up, right? And so there I can just lock it in just like so. Whereas if you only hold down the Option, notice you can freely do it, and then you can mess it up. So I don't want to mess it up. Alright, so then I can click and drag out my ruler and lock in my guide like so. And then hold on Option Shift and drag it out one more time. I think I have one too many rectangles. There we go. And then make sure that's good to go. So now we're all even spacing here. And then I'm going to do the same thing here vertically. Click on the vertical ruler, drag that down. Okay, and I can actually hold down the Shift key, and we can group all three of these rectangles. Okay, and then we can hold down, if you control click on it. Okay, and you can put link layers. So now notice all three of those are linked now. So if you try to move it, okay, it's linked. And I think I linked the wrong one. There you go. I think I need to do these three, not that little square rectangle. So I'm going to link those layers again. And then I'm going to hold down Option Shift. I'm going to drag those right out like so. And then take my guide and drag out my guide here. And let's see, I'm going to click on my link layers, Command Shift, and drag those three down and Boom, done. So if I zoom out, notice I have a grid that looks really good. So this guide, I'm going to call this guide blue square, like across the street. Just so I don't, and I don't really need that anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that. But just in case I need it in the future. But these are basically going to be my squares or my mats for my photos. So now I'm going to come in and grab my photographs, and we're going to start putting them in these squares. And you kind of need to know where to place your photographs as well. So I can go in here and do view, show view options, and I can kind of like zoom it in a little bit, like so. Now, when you arrange your photographs, you want to, so notice this photograph. Notice the subject is in the bottom right, and it's a sky. So I would maybe want to put the sky pictures up in the sky. Okay, so you can kind of like arrange it here for practice. So here's a sky picture. Here's a sky picture. Notice this is on the left, my subject, so I might want to keep that on the left. Any other sky pictures? No. Usually we're going to keep our self-portrait in the middle because that's our main attention. Or actually, let's put them in the bottom right because we're going to put our name at the bottom right as well. Okay, and I guess there's some sky. So there's our sky pictures, and that's kind of symmetry. So symmetry photographs, it's really good to keep those in the middle. If you don't have any sky pictures, that's fine. I could put this in the sky since, you know, it's a little bit light colored. But here, see, this is the ground. I would want to keep that on the ground. This is kind of like a wall. Here's the ground. Notice the subject is on the right, so I'd want to move them to the right. And then this is... you want to, I would put this in the middle for symmetry, but it's not the most, I think this picture is a little bit better, although, see the framing here on the left side, put that in the middle. Okay, you may want to save your best picture for the middle. I think there's better pictures here, like this one. So if I want, I could just maybe swap that one in. Like so, and then we have our 3. So maybe this is the way I want to arrange my photograph. Again, symmetry, kind of keep those in the middle, subjects on the left side, like so. Notice that these people are facing inwards, so I'd want to keep that inwards. I wouldn't want to keep them facing like outwards, okay? And then this picture is symmetry, but I kind of want my attention to be a flower and not this white. And then these are fine at the bottom, although this might be good framing because my subject's on the left. And color, you want to make sure your color goes well too. So just look to see how like this blue matches up with this blue, or this polka dots line up with these lines. So your placement is really important. And once you have where you want your photographs, you can just come in here, drag your photograph. We're going to make those 8.2. Okay, so if you notice right on the side, it tells you how big they are. So try to get, you need to be exact. What I'm going to do is I need to center this. We're going to unlink the layers. So if you control click on one of the link layers and hit unlink layers, and then we're going to click on lines and lines border, hold on the shift key and make sure both of them are selected. And then we're going to hit center horizontally and center vertically. And if you do that, they'll be centered, and then we can use our arrow keys to kind of put those back on the guide to where they were. Okay, and what you'll do is just keep repeating that. So you'll go back in, here's my framing, I'll put in my framing picture, and again it was 8.2. Okay. see. Make sure it's 8.2. And then go to your white line or square, framing border. Okay. Shift key, make sure both of them are selected, and then you want to make sure they're both lined up. Okay, so you'll just keep doing that, and then finally you'll put your text in, and then you're just going to put your name down here. Start with 22 point, because you don't want anything too big. You just type in 22. And you want more of a script. I'm going to use brush script, and you can use something brush script or something similar. And then what you'll do is place that right on the edge right here, and you're going to move it down, because when we print it, it's going to have a little bit of a border, so we don't want to hog this edge. So put it a little bit down here, and we don't want it to be distracting. So what we'll do is hit function, and make sure your text layer is selected, and color overlay, and we choose white so it matches the borders, and then we're done. So again, you would just want to keep filling in your layers, and then once you're all finished, you hit file, save as, and you can save it as a JPEG. Call this photo project grid, and then hit save, and then you can hit maximum quality and hit OK, and then you'll be able to print it, and then you're all done.